Dominant possession style backed by a ferocious press to keep opponents at bay. Do you want to learn how to play like Pep Guardiola's record-breaking 2018 Man City in FIFA? Well, today, I'm going to teach you how. Hey, what's going on, guys? Respected Jeff back here with another tactical breakdown. Today we take on 2017-2018 Manchester City under Pep Guardiola, the side that won the league and did so in spectacular fashion. Now, in terms of the style of play of this team, it's possession-based. It's all based off of fluid positioning of the different players and interchangeable players up in the offensive side of things, and then a high defensive press to win the ball back and keep possession as much as possible. Now, this is best for teams that have interchangeable attackers that can rotate between that front 5 or 6, and also just well-rounded players who are good on the ball, whether they're defenders, attackers, midfielders, or even goalkeepers, rather, with Ederson in between the sticks, who's a great passer of the ball. So now how do you actually go about setting this side up? 4-3-3, simple enough. You want the 4-3-3 holding that has a holding defensive midfielder in behind two of the more attacking-minded center mids ahead of him, and some wingers alongside the strikers up top. Now, in terms of the actual team tactics, you want to set it to press after possession loss. This is a hallmark of Guardiola teams. You'll see the same in the Barcelona breakdown I did a while back. In terms of the width, you want it set to 7 to spread the pitch a bit, but the depth is where this really comes into play. 8 out of 10, you want to crank that pretty high up and make sure that your players are not only pressing, but pressing very high up the pitch as well to try to win the ball back and obviously just maintain possession and continue scoring goals. It's all about the offense. Now, it's notable here, you could also set this to constant pressure as one of the game plans if you want to set that to attacking or even the defensive side, however you want to organize it. That way you could have periods where you press really hard and then also periods where you only press after possession loss and kind of cycle between the two. It's not like the lead style where you're pressing for 90 minutes, but if you want to customize it a little bit, you could go that route. But for the sake of just a default template, stick to press after possession loss. In terms of the offense, I think it's easy enough to say possession is another hallmark of the Guardiola style. You're going to want to set the offensive style to possession for sure. In terms of the customization below that, width is set to 6 out of 10, fairly run-of-the-mill, but players in the box you want to crank up to 7 to make sure you're getting those runs in the end of passes and crosses, things like that. It's all about offense with this kind of formation. And now in terms of the actual player instructions is where things start to click. Back in 2018, they had Sane, Aguero, Sterling up top for most of the games. You're going to want to set the left winger on that Sane role to stay wide, as well as get in behind and really stretch the pitch out on that left-hand side. Aside from that, the settings can be set to default. Aguero is going to be balanced across the board, just an out-of-the-box default striker position. You want him to be able to contribute to link-up play, get on the end of headers as well. Despite Aguero not being tall, he was a great finisher on the end of crosses, as well as just take shots and take men on himself. Now on the right-hand side, it's going to be more of the same. Raheem Sterling, back when he was playing out on that side, could kind of do it all, drop back and contribute to link-up play, get in behind, so you're going to want to set balanced width and balanced chance creation as well. Obviously, now he plays a much different role out on the left-hand side, but if you want to customize it again a little bit, you could set this to get in behind just for the sake of making it perform better in FIFA, but we want to keep it realistic enough to the way they actually played. Balanced is the way to go. Now, in that David Silva role, where he used to be from Manchester City back in 2018, you're going to want to keep that top row set to the defaults. However, positioning freedom is going to be set to free roam, which allows him to reign in the final third to kind of just pick his spots and really get involved in picking out passes in the final third. On the flip side, De Bruyne is going to be set to get forward in his attacking support and also set to free roam, so you have both of these center mids behind your front three getting involved in play, getting themselves forward, opening up space, and this is really crucial to getting this team working the way you want. Now, in terms of that Fernandinho role in defensive mid, you want to set them to stay back while attacking. The rest can stay defaults, and then the back four is also really crucial to the way we play here. Back when Fabian Delph was playing a lot at that left back position, it was kind of a phenomenon where he was I think they called it a false left back. He would kind of tuck in defensively to give them a back three, or when he contributed to the offense, it was in an inverted role in midfield. So you want to set the run type to inverted. The attacking runs can be set to balanced because it wasn't necessarily like he was always getting involved in attack. On the flip side, Kyle Walker was, especially with Raheem Sterling, so you want to set him to join the attack and also overlap, so you can kind of isolate 1v1s out on that right-hand side like City used to do all the time back in that 2018 season. Both of the center backs can be set to default. However, your goalkeeper, you're going to want to set to both comes for crosses and sweeper keeper. You want a very aggressive keeper for situations where you get caught out on the counterattack. Props to you if you can find a player as good as Ederson at doing this, but in terms of just setting your team up the way City played, that's the way to go. All right, so now you have all of your tactics set up, but how do you actually play with this team? I'll give you a couple pointers on things to watch out for. First up, you want to have a quick press after possession loss. This means manually controlling your players, closing down space, and trying to support the rest of the AI players who are also closing down. You're going to get chances off the counterattack here, and if you can find some quick passing sequences, just like you're seeing here, Manchester City play this way all the time, really high-intensity attack. It's not necessarily possession just for possession's sake, but really having a game plan and an eye for goal. You're constantly pushing for more in front of goal and really racking up as many goals as you can in any given game. And really the foundation behind all of this is the press. You want as much of the ball as possible. You don't want the opposition to have the ball in your area at all. You really want to just close things down. Now, the crux of the attack is the ability to use all options. Obviously, you have both of those center mids behind. You see De Bruyne acting almost as a winger here, finding the space in behind and opening it up for a cross. And like I said, it's all about the options here. It's not necessarily just possession for possession's sake and trying to walk the ball into the back of the net. You want to keep the ball moving and really just use whatever you have available to you. Balls over the top, crosses into the box, shots from distance, whatever you can make work here is the name of the game for City. Like I said, it's all out attack, and you're going to have a lot of different options here. The wingers out wide are great options. You're going to have the striker up top playing a pretty run-of-the-mill striker role. You're going to have the center mids bombing forward, so you're going to have tons of options. It's all about just picking out that final pass and making sure you can keep running up these score lines like City used to back in the day, and really continue to modern day. De Bruyne, that role is really important. If you can find a center mid who's able to get forward, score goals, and make assists, that is going to be crucial to getting your offense working properly. And again, it ties in with that high press. If you can win the ball back and then just quickly work the ball towards the net and find some options in front of goal, that's going to be how you want to play here as Manchester City. You're going to have a lot of the ball, so you just have to capitalize and make sure you're finishing off chances. You can see a variety of attacking options here in some of this gameplay. Like I said, shots from distance, crosses in, passes in behind, taking your men on 1v1. Like I said, whatever works is fair game here. Even the little 1-2s between Sterling and, again, De Bruyne, it's really important to have some good attacking-minded center mids. Obviously, that holding role, the Fernandinho position, is way more defensive-minded, but if you can get players like Silva who can create, or De Bruyne who can really do it all, those are going to be probably the most crucial positions in the entirety of this formation and the way you can play here. And if you can link up play between some of these players and have players with good passing stats and ball control, you're going to get some of these beautiful sequences coming off. So it really depends a lot on the team, but you keep spreading the ball, look for the open areas. You can see here, you spray the ball out wide, the wingers can get involved. Crosses are totally fair game, despite the possession-oriented nature. It's not like City doesn't love to put balls into the box and play very direct. Now, Guardiola has been quoted as saying it's possession with a purpose that makes this City team click, and it's not like a lot of other possession-based systems where you'll see teams holding onto the ball as more of a defensive measure, because if the opposition can't get the ball, then they're less likely to get scored against. But City, like I've been saying, it's all-out attack. They want to score as many as possible and run it up, so you're never just going to hang onto the ball and work it around just for the sake of it. You want to constantly be picking your head up, looking for options, and trying to find ways through. You should be winning games just due to the nature of that, but it's not necessarily a rock-solid defense that's responsible for making this City team win. If you can find some good defenders to back your system up, then props to you, but you really just want to run score lines up and hope that that's enough to take down the opposition teams here. And again, while it's not the main intention, if you're able to keep running up the score and creating chances yourself, the more you're doing of that, the less the opposition will have of the ball, just as a side effect of it anyway. So even if it's not your main goal, you're going to end up benefiting from this all-out attack kind of style. Now, another thing you want to watch out for is rushing with the keeper. You're going to get caught out plenty on the counterattack here. You kind of need to focus on having quick defenders, but if they're not able to catch up, you want your keeper out there as fast as possible. You can see in this situation, we get a little fortunate with Martial missing the follow-up, but that's something you want to keep an eye out for as well. So just to reiterate here, the style of play, it's possession-based. It's all based off of fluidity in that final third, getting all the players involved. It's not necessarily focusing on wingers or strikers or anyone in particular. The center mids are just as important as that front three. And you also want to focus on the defensive press, obviously. You want to make sure your players are closing down, keeping as much of the ball as possible, and just constantly feeding that attack, looking for more goals, more passing sequences that lead to goals, things like that. And in the meantime, guys, if you want to help me manage the teams that I'm playing with, like Schalke, and also contribute to some of these tactical breakdowns, consider joining my coaching staff on patreon.com/respectthejeff. You'll get awesome behind-the-scenes views into what I'm doing, as well as being able to give me feedback and directly shape the content that I'm making. If not, in the meantime, at least consider subscribing to the channel. It helps me out a ton as I continue to roll out new content, so I'll be back soon with more tactical breakdowns and more content coming up soon with Schalke. And with that said, I'm Respect the Jeff. and I'll see you next time.